Okay, so some people ask, why do I even do Sudoku that's so easy that it's like pointless or whatever. Ironically, today I will be doing level, what do you call it? Um, Easy candidate, which is so freaking weird. I don't, no, I'm kidding. I'm never doing that shit. Um, it's such a weird thing because it's nothing and there's no um it's an easy candidate. What are you talking about? So on the last video I tried what I call, what is it, level 5 and 6? Yeah, that's not bad. Now real Sudoku. The one is there. Then if one cannot be in the top here and here, it's most likely to be in the top here or there, and I don't know. I just look at something else. 7 is so simple, it's right here. Then the other 7 is here. So there you go, 7s are done. So easy. But then the 6s are like, well, it could be in 2 places. And for this one, it's not as easy. So we look at a different number again. And 4 is not easy. 2 is here. And then the other 2, well, it has to be there. So that's good to know. And then the other 2's here. And then you need a 2 in here. 2. And this 2 has to be on the bottom because otherwise it can't fit in the block. And then this one has to be on the top. So that's cool. If one is blocked here, there, then we have a 1 here. The other one can be somewhere in the bottom here. We don't know which one. But if we're going to have a 1 that doesn't, there's the 1. There's another 1. And then there's a 1. So there's the 1. 3 is here, which then's there and there. Now, why there instead of here? Well, I actually don't know, so I'm gonna resend that and we'll come back, we'll circle back to it. Here's a 3. No, that's not a 3. Here's a, here's a, here's a, okay, in order for a 3 to be in the middle, it has to be here. Otherwise, it wouldn't be anywhere. And then this one has to be on the side. This one has to be there. So this was wrong. So I'm glad I caught that. My brain is snarp, like they say. No one says that. For Daisy. Give, 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 give. What? Wait, how the fuck? Thank you. Fuck. Bejeepus and all that shit. Out of nothing at all. Okay, so that's pretty okay. Then we go here and we say, oh no, this too shall pass. Seven one seven one seven five. Seeing that before I see it in Sudoku is like how my brain works and stuff. But then there's a 3 and the 3. But then there's a 3 and the 3 and the 3. But if there's a 3 and the 3, we don't know where any 3 is. So we need to look at the 4, and there's a 4. There you go. Similarly, 7, and we think of this as a 7, or that, and we don't know which one. Let's choose something else. How about 6? 6 is extremely undefined. However, if 6, then 6 and 6 and 6. Every 6 is possible, so that's not a good one to look for. 2 on the bottom means this is a 2, obviously. So that's something. And if I put a 2 here, that helps. But then this one could also, and that could be a 2, and that could be a 2. These 2. So what about the number 8 or something? Also extremely undefined. 9? No. So what the hell? Okay, let's look at this. We have a 3 over here and a 9 over here by elimination of the triplet that has to be those numbers, which also means those numbers can't exist anywhere else. So 8, 4 doesn't exist here, here, or there, which is a good amount of elimination. Right. And then we have a 2 with a 4 here, 8, 7, something, something, something. This is all good except for there's a 3, so there must be a 3. Then that's still good. Good. Well, this is... No, it doesn't have to be the 2. Well, it's just a straight up 8, so that will eliminate so many things that this cannot be 5. Sorry, this cannot be 5. This cannot be 1, 5. So that makes this a 2, and that a 3. And then similarly, 4 or 4, we don't know. 9, 6, 5, 6, 1, 6, 5, 6, 1, 9, 8, 9, 9, 7, 6, 7, 6, 4. So that's the 4 in this one. That's pretty definite. And then, because it's the only place a 4 could go in the row, column, whatever. I always say it right at some point. If 9, 9, then 2, 2, 2, 6, 7, 7, 1, 6, 3, 2, 2. Oh, that has to be a 2. Because there's no other 2 in that. So there's that. Forcing this 2. And then that 2. Also kind of obvious if I just look. And then we have 5, 6, 5, 6, meaning this has to be 9, and then that has to be 4, that has to be 9, because the other remaining 5, 6s are the only places the 5, 6 could go. And then because of 5, 6, it doesn't mean anything about the block itself. So that's something. But if 6, 7, 5, 8 is more likely, 8 is definitely somewhere in there. And where's the other 8? We don't know. But this 8's on the bottom, so that's good. Um, 3 column and row both show it to be possible, so that's something I can't work with. If 5, 1, 5, 1, 5, 1 also could, and 8, 1, 6, 9. This 9 is the only 9, so that solves that. And then you have 8, 6, 8, 6, 1, 8, 5, 1, 6. It doesn't mean anything. But there's a 3 somewhere and doesn't help. However, this is definitely a 3 because that's a 4. By the same logic of all the other times I've used that logic. And that's a 3. If 8, 6, 8, 6, then not 6, because that forces this 6 here. Because vertically as well, 8, 6, 8, 6. So that's also a 4. So if 8, 6, 6, 6, this cannot be 8, for example. And then that's a 9. No, that's not how that works. This would be the 9, but I don't know. 6, 7, 8, 1. Well, 8 in this column, in this row, it can't be 8 here, so it therefore must be 6. That's the 8. And then that makes this the 6. That's the 9. Like I said, 8, 6, and then climbing the ladder we see 8, and there's the 6. It's the only 6 in this column. There's the undefined 6, close but no. Anything else I should be noticing, I wonder? Four, that's helpful, I guess. 9, 8 in the block. 5, 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, 6, 8. And then well, for example, if 1, 1 can't, 5, 7, something. That's not definitive. Well, that's a 1. That helps a lot. We cascade. What the shit? Typing is so weird with this keyboard. It's impossible to not be solved at this point. It's just getting to that point where you know all the answers that have already been laid out. Next, starting with 1, we have that, and then we have 8, 6, 6, 3, 6, 3, 5. Doesn't help. I think I'm getting better at this stuff. Maybe, but only because of something. I don't know. 1 in the column. Or the block? I don't know. Pick one. 5, no. 9, no. 9. 4, 7, 9, 9, 5, 3. All binary. Well, if 4 can only be in this column, then 4 can't be up here because there's no other place for 4 to be, which forces this to be a 4. So that was good. Unsimilarly, this has 2 binaries, which doesn't help. For more info. And then 7, 6, 8, 5, 2. And no, 5. 7, 6, 8, 2, 9 on the top of the options. 1 either side, and 1 on either side, and 1 in the middle. Also middle. Also side. If it's 1 here, it's 1 there, which forces the 1 here. If it's 1 here, it's 1 there and 1 here. So there's a binary there. And I'd have to just pick between the 2 states. But I could just deduce instead. Pardon my fish. If I think of 7 as being here, and the only way that it can be a 7 in this block is, or in this row is if it's in here, then it can't be here, for example. So those are false 7s, which means it's only here and here, and that helps a tiny bit. But also, something similar could be maybe said about other things. And if 7, 7, then the 6 or the 8 and the 2 doesn't. But it gets us closer, I think. If 8, 4, 9. Oh, there's a 3. That's nice. It's just a known 3. And then I have to shift, so then I think of 6, but then there's the 9, there's the 8, there's the 4, there's the 5. It's like, I don't know. And then 7. Is it weird that the number is usually the least intrusive number? Is that a rule in this game, or is that like what? 673 sounds good, but then doesn't give me enough to go on. Like the 675 switches to a 3-6, and that breaks it for me. And then the 8. Also, this is binary elsewheres. Oh, sheesh. What do we have here? 2, 3, 6, 8. No, I mean 4, 1. If 1, then 1. Again. Again? Oh, Schleppleck. Schmendrick. If 8, then 8, but also 8. Huh. Or 8, unless 8. Wait, if the lower... Okay, if this block doesn't lower 8, it doesn't do it, so that forces this to be a 6. This is not an 8. It has to be on the lower because in the other blocks it can't be low. So that's how that works in my brain, and is why I found that solution. Also why we found a 6, and then the rest is all somewhere in binary, which is good. This is a 2, so that's cool. Forces 7, 8, 7 is the remainder of 2 and 9. What else do we have? We just had a 6 and 7 and stuff and whatever. So it's like the 1 is on this side. Vertical ones also exist. How about 8? Well, 8 only exists vertically here and here. But then 8 would have to be here otherwise. Which means here. Which also relates to here and here. Unless here. I think it's the unless that's interesting because if, then, and up. Everything's related. If I were, this is a 5-6 pair, then that would be 9. This would be 1, 9. But if I were to, like, the 1, 5, 9 is like, it has to be, 1 is somewhere. And we don't know which. Oh, stupid. I opened a can of some kind of stupid SpaghettiOs. I don't know what they did to the sauce, but it's not the greatest. It does not. The lacking is taste. Okay, if 1, 1 and 4, 4 and 9, 9, 4, 9, 4, 9, 4, 9, 5, 9, 2, 4. That would make this a 4-1 pair if 592, 592, 592, but we don't know. Also, crap. Dang it, I'm stuck. Pick one. Okay. So that makes, so starting with the 9, we go that 6, 3, 2, 5, 7, 8, 9, thing, 2, 6. Did I find the right binary? Like, for real? It's, god dang it. At least I remember where I started in case this is wrong, but I'm like getting closer and closer to believing it's right. I was right about the 5-6 pair, but I chose like still one of the states that I... What? Am I not done? How am I not done? What the shit? It doesn't make any sense. Well, it isn't 4-8 pair. Forcing this to be a 1. That's a 4. That's an 8. That's a 4. 9, 1. So after a binary, I deduced, which is crazy. It happens like that sometimes. Well, that was nice. The entire puzzle was done in 30 minutes only because I did a binary. Not my favorite thing to do. I would like to have done it with other stuff, but whatever, and we're going to immediately go into level 5, which I dislike entirely. Is we do it with freaking manual candidate. Which you would think would be easier because I have to, but it's not because I have to put it in manually every time. So stuff like 2 goes down here and then oh, I better be right about all of this. Also, the ones aren't finished. Next 3, we think of only this 3, that 3, here and there. There. And here. There. There and there. There and there and there and there. Five. Why the hell? Dum 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 dum. Six. Seven. Eight. Something feels wrong about that number. Nope, that's just straight up a 2. So not 2, not 2, and not 2. Nice. These definitely look wrong, so what's left? Can a 4 go there? Oh, what the hell? 1, no, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. Wait, 8 could go. Is there not 8 in the middle? Like, just put them everywhere. Then what's this? Doesn't make any sense. 9? Are 9s everywhere? No. Well, not there, obviously. It would look like everything's placed. Ugh. Yeah. Why are the 2s not placed? What the hell? Okay, so we're at the same position we were in stage 5. Considering the fact that it took me 9 minutes and 30 seconds, already getting one number at least. Like, I know candidate mode is... Oh my god, I have a second meal of those stupid SpaghettiOs. But anyhow... Why is there not a 2 here? Or there? Oh, for fuck's sakes. Here? Shit. Also 1s. Where are the 1s? Why are there not 1s here? Huh? Or there? Or in here? What the frick? Why? Why? How is this so limited to just those numbers? Wouldn't it also be like, well, it's not 4, 5. Okay, that makes sense, I guess. But also, what? It's limited here, but it's fine here. I guess because there was only 3 numbers in the block, that's all that can be limited besides the... Okay, it all makes sense. It just feels like it doesn't make sense. Now, 11 minutes in and I can finally start. Woo. So we have a 2 that could be here. That's a 2. Wow. He's no longer 2. And then we have a 9 there. That seems to be correct. And a 3 here. This is the other 3. So again, we seem to be on the same page as last time. These are no longer 3s, which makes this a 3. Oh, fuck the tree. Fuck the tree. 1 or 1. No one can know. Well, that's not a 3 now, is it? 8. If that's correct, makes that a 2. Sorry, it's still one possible. Don't know which one, blah blah blah. 8181, 581. That's in your 9. Why the shit is there a 9 here? What the hell? That's stupid. Oh my god. Okay, so I remember there was an 8686 pair and I don't remember how I got to that point, so let's just go somewhere, figure something out. Here's a 5656. Forces this to not 56. Yeah. Forces that to be a 2. This is obviously could never be a 2 anymore. Just didn't mark it. Okay, that looks right. And then 7 something 4, unless the 4 is incorrect, which it's not, so that's a 4. Other 4 is not. This 4 is not. That's a 9. That's a 4. This is not a 4. That's a 4. These are not 4. These are not 4. These are not 9. That's a lot of information. And then 2, 3. 9. Which means this is not 9. The 5, 6, 5, and 6, 5, 8 is weird. And then I always wonder if I got something wrong or if I missed something. For example, there's a 4 over here. Is there any reason to say that the 4 could not be anywhere else? There's nowhere else it could be. So that's helpful. This is the only 2 position. It can't be here because of that 2. It can't be here or here. So that's the 2. So that's cool. Which also means this is not a 2. And all 4s need to be removed, which leaves this as the only 4. That still is good. And this is 2, which means this is not 2. But it could never be a 2. It was already not a 2, so it's like, what the frick? What the frick? Frick. And if 9 top can't bottom, so that's not a 9. forcing these to be 9s, which this is not a 9. That's not a 9. If I paid attention in school, I would know that this is a 9. Eight, 6, 8, 6 pair precludes 8 from being elsewhere in the row. Column, I mean. So not here, not there, and not here. There's only a 9 here. The other 9 doesn't count. So that means this is not a 9. This is a 9. Eight, 6, 8, 6 in the block precludes all 8s and 6s further throughout the block. So that makes sense. This is a 5 something something, never mind. And then if 3, and that's a 3, that's just a 3, unless, but if 3 doesn't, so 3 does, must, so that's not a 3. And similarly 8 in the box, meaning this is not an 8. That's a 6, meaning this is not a 6. That's also not a 6. That's an 8. What? Hold on. Oh my god. Huh? How did you make it? If 8686, this can't be a 6. Literally can't. Forces this to be the 6. But then the 7 situation. What should be there? Or there could be an 8 there, you're right. Okay. That's weird. This is not a 6. This is not a 6. That's a 6. Yep. And then this is not a 6. This is not a 6. That's a 7. This is not a 7. Okay. This can't be a 6. Meaning this is a 6. What? I think I still have a mistaken thing that's like gumming up the works because I don't actually see how I can solve this. Yeah, that I fucked up. Okay, I give up. I have no idea what anything is anymore. It's ridiculous. There's just so much that's like it has to be either correctly written or whatever, and all this stuff there's not twos now and whatever. It's like I don't know. I don't care. I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore.